It's more about what can we provide the employees to make them want to come and want to stay.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of the success is really from an operational standpoint.
Okay.
You know, we have fantastic leaders in HR, on the HR side, that have done so much since they've been on board.
Yeah.
But creating an environment where using technology to onboard, making sure that people are happy within the first 90 days, right? And all that technology to help do that and make sure that we aren't losing people, I think is really probably the next big step.
Welcome to The Move In, a senior living marketing podcast from Unlock Health, a full-service marketing partner for the aging services industry. Join us for candid conversations exploring the latest marketing strategies with the senior living community leaders and innovative solution partners who are moving our industry forward. Together, we'll build a community to build better communities. Over the past year, I continue to have more conversations regarding leveraging marketing strategies for talent acquisition, and I had the opportunity to hear a presentation from Fran Palma at Senior Living 100 detailing how Covenant Living took a similar approach. So when I saw Fran at Smash, I immediately asked him to sit down and share how his team transformed their recruitment strategies in the wake of COVID-19. From building a career website from scratch to leveraging cutting-edge technology, Fran will take us through the innovative approaches that help Covenant Living attract top talent during a challenging time. In this conversation, we discussed Fran's career background and how his team approached challenges as they replicated the marketing ecosystem for recruitment. We also discussed the strategic shifts in initial recruitment strategies, which included collaboration between marketing and HR, and utilizing technology and data in recruitment and the nuanced approach to tailoring strategies and messaging for different roles and communities. This is an episode packed with insights and actionable tips that any senior living organization can apply. Let's jump in. All right, we are back on the move in senior living, and I have Fran Palma with us. He is the Chief Marketing and Digital Strategy Officer at Covenant Living. We met at Senior Living 100, and you had a great presentation about leveraging marketing strategies and recruitment. And I appreciate you joining us today to share some of those insights. But before going any further, I know you've had a great career in senior living. I was going to see if you can kind of go into some of that detail.
Yeah, I've been in senior living for about 20 years, 20 plus years. Before Covenant, I worked at an agency called Martino and Binzer.
Okay.
Worked exclusively in the senior living space, had clients all over the country, and then came aboard to Covenant about 8 years ago. And basically been there as the chief marketing officer for the whole time.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciated the presentation you provided at Senior Living 100. What led you to give that presentation before we start going into the details?
Well, I think, during COVID kind of changed things as it pertains to talent acquisition and recruitment. And we were really lucky that right before COVID, we thought recruitment is sophisticated and it needs to be approached with the same level of sophistication that we do on the marketing side.
Sure, absolutely.
And so what we thought was, what if we took, at the end of the day, sales is sales. You're trying to sell yourself to residents. You're trying to sell yourself to potential employees. So we thought if we took that same kind of construct and applied it to talent acquisition with the same level of sophistication, we'd be in a much better place. And we started with nothing. So pre-COVID, we didn't even have a career website.
Okay.
So it was really starting from scratch. And what we did was we kind of took what the marketing ecosystem looked like on the sales side, and we replicated that on the recruitment side.
Yeah. So was this in HR? Did they reach out to you, or did you reach out to them?
Well, it's funny because at that time I was working with HR. We were working as a team. But then the person who was heading up HR at the time had retired.
Okay.
And so we kind of did as much as we could, being marketers and not talent acquisitions experts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny how marketing tends to be like handed over some of this stuff. They kind of fill a void far too often.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then COVID hit, and we were just really lucky that we had at least the infrastructure in place.
Yeah. So, what are some of the key strategies that you really deployed in I'd say, starting off? I know, I'm sure it's evolved since then, but really, coming out of the gate, what were some of the strategies or the activations you relied on?
So just like marketing, having that foundation, that ecosystem to make sure that you're capturing, in this case, all the applicants, I'm going to say leads because we kind of treat them like leads, but
absolutely.
to have that infrastructure in place first and foremost before you start layering on marketing tactics. That way, unequivocally that you're getting every applicant. I think the other thing that we discovered really quickly was that people, just like sales, there was high abandonment levels. And we're like, well, why are people starting applications, not finishing them?
Yeah.
Why are they coming to the website, not doing an application? So just like what we do on the sales and marketing side, and we look at the user experience, we did the same thing on the recruitment side. We found out things like the applications were too long. People would fill out halfway out and then would just leave, right? But then also collecting all the data on those people so that we can then actually market to them, just like we do with, with email and those sorts of things.
Sure.
We also got some specific software and technology for recruitment. It's a platform that actually has a CRM built into it. So you can actually use that CRM to communicate with applicants and people that visit your site.
And I'm guessing that's separate from your marketing CRM.
Yes. It's strictly for recruitment.
Okay, nice. Now, I'm guessing you leverage, of course, the website. Are you using any paid ads, or how does that work?
Yeah, we pretty much tried everything.
Yeah, sure.
And just, it was, a lot of it is trial and error. Still a lot of it, Glassdoor, Indeed. We did try pretty much every kind of aggregator out there, ZipRecruiter, Monster. We tried them all at some point. And because we had that infrastructure in place, we would know pretty quickly which ones were working, which ones weren't working.
Yeah.
Right now, it's primarily Indeed, I'd say, and Indeed has a lot of different products, and we use a lot of those different products. They have things like virtual job fairs.
Yeah.
We use some of those sorts of things.
Okay.
We have used paid ads, like Google paid ads in the past. Those haven't been so successful.
Okay.
Facebook advertising, we've done that.
Sure.
That's
I was
been
going to ask
pretty,
you about the social media.
Yeah, that's the Facebook advertising has been relatively successful.
Okay.
Especially back before all the privacy issues, and we were able to target people based on a lot of different variables.
Yeah. So does it change? I'm guessing community by community. What works in one community might be different in the other community. I'm guessing you see the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the strategies are the strategies and the tactics, they're nuanced.
Yeah.
But, for instance, some places resonate better with the virtual jobs fairs than others.
Sure.
But for the most part, I think the tools in the toolbox are the tools you got to use.
Yeah.
And then you use those, you manipulate them a bit to be kind of nuanced for that geography, but most of them work across the board. Yeah.
When you talk about Facebook, is it a different story you're telling on Facebook in terms of connecting people on a more like personal level and kind of engaging in a different type of storytelling on social media compared to other spaces?
Well, probably not. I think when I say Facebook, I don't really mean like the social media aspect of it. I'm really talking about paid ads.
Paid ads, sure. Absolutely.
So you're paying to get your ads in front of people who you think are your target audience.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than just, posts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, how are you utilizing data? I mean, I know data is guiding all the decisions, but I was going to see if you have any more
well, I
direction
think,
on that.
Again, because we have that infrastructure in place, you can really quickly look at the data and see what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
All the data that we collected, in part, that's how we discovered that the application was too long. The data it's not really as complicated as you think. I mean, I just focus on what's working and what's not working, right? It's like pass fail. It's like, did we get responses from that or did we not get responses from that?
Yeah.
So
and I guess like regarding like the data and finding out like what's working, what's not, you're probably learning how to tailor your message to different audiences from like the clinical staff or compared to administrative staff.
Oh yeah. And we have different strategies, so, and what we found is some strategies are good for like administrative, some are good for dining, different jobs, I think show up, you reach those people in different channels.
Yeah.
Right.
What about, I know you want to tell a story. And a part of that story is that employer branding. Did you have to really take that to another level?
We
to
did. Yeah, we did.
creating this messaging.
Yeah, we came up with a whole new creative platform just for kind of recruitment.
Yeah,
And really, that's woven into everything that we do.
sure.
Yeah.
You find that like as you've gone down this like this journey, like it's such a competitive marketplace.
Yeah.
Do you find that like if you put like your community out there and like there are people who really want to work in senior living, and I know far too often there's a lot of competitors that you're trying to pull work from a talent pool from, but do you find that once you tell that story it's a game changer and really
It depends on the job.
Okay.
I mean, when you're talking about, it's certain jobs are, it's money.
yes, exactly.
About 5 years ago, I read an article how Uber was targeting CNAs, and that was during COVID,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of CNAs were getting out of the industry,
Yeah.
and they could actually make more money working, with Uber.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it all depends on the job and the position.
Yeah.
I do think that the one story that we don't tell really well is that you're working on these beautiful campuses,
Yeah.
and you don't really know that till you get there. So I think that's one of the things about, it's just like when we were at their residence, it's an experiential product. You need to get them
Absolutely.
on campus.
Yeah.
I think if you can get potential employees on campus, especially at different communities, and you're not working at a hospital, in the middle of the city.
Yeah.
You're working on, somewhere where it's got a beautiful campus. It's got, we've got a pond, we've got all this different things. You got restaurants, you got food there.
There's so many stories to unpack. I always say on senior living, you're unpacking stories about the staff,
Yeah.
the residents, the location, and
Right.
everything. There's so many different directions to take this.
Well, yeah, and from a career pathing kind of perspective, there's a lot of different things you can do.
Though, yeah, for sure. So, how do you see the marketing strategies for talent acquisition evolving over the next few years? I mean, I feel like we took it from pre-COVID, post-COVID, and we're kind of in that world where, yes, we're leveraging marketing strategies. Where do you see it going evolve from here, Fran?
I think it's more about what can we provide the employees
Yeah.
to make them want to come and want to stay.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of the success is really from an operational standpoint.
Okay.
We have fantastic leaders in HR, on the HR side, that have done so much since they've been on board. But creating an environment where you got, onboarding, using technology to onboard, making sure that people are happy within the first 90 days, right? And all that technology to help do that and make sure that we aren't losing people, I think is really probably the next big step.
I appreciate that. Do you see HR being happy about working with marketing? I'd like to get your feedback there.
Yeah. I think it's natural. It's kind of a natural partnership.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
you
like,
got to
both
be able to
parties are
tell a
winning.
story. Right.
Absolutely, like you're helping one another.
Exactly. You got to have a story to tell, whether it's marketing, or talent acquisition, or philanthropy and development. You got to have a story, and you got to have that story packaged up.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're learning really how to better tell these stories this week at Smash.
Yep.
And so, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having
me. Where can people find you? Are you on LinkedIn or?
Oh yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'm on
All right.
LinkedIn. Yeah.
We'll look for my man Fran there.
Yeah.
And thanks again, Fran, and
Thanks,
hope to
man.
see you around. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Fran, thank you for the insights you shared today. I appreciate you taking the time to chat. Here are a few notes that I took during this conversation. First, treat recruitment like marketing. This includes recognizing the need to approach talent acquisition with the same level of sophistication as the marketing efforts. Second, optimize the applicant experience. Fran's team discovered high abandonment rates in their job applications, similar to what they saw in their sales funnel. By analyzing data and user behavior, they were able to identify and address friction points such as overly lengthy application forms to improve the overall applicant experience. And finally, leverage data and technology. Fran's team utilized various recruitment platforms and advertising channels, but they were able to quickly determine what was working and what wasn't by closely monitoring the data. Thanks again to Fran for your willingness to share today. And until next time, let's go create some meaningful connections.
Thank you for listening to The Move in Healthcare Growth. Add your voice to the conversation. Email the show at themove@unlockhealthnow.com. Follow us on social media and stay up to date at unlockhealthnow.com. Also, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode.